Hi, I'm Spencer Terry, and this is a senior capstone math class, and these are my fellow students.
My name is Trayshawn Thornton.
And I'm Thomas Williams.
I'm Shayla Perry.
Daniel Christophers.
Khadijah Elmore.
Alex All. Samuel Haney.
I'm Josh Ranson.
I'm Carla Pinkert.
I'm Imani Palmer.
Doc Bates.
Mariano Rue.
Elizabeth Jorgensen Best.
Alex Law.
Michelle.
Location not found task. At noon one day, Corey decided to take a ride in his motorboat following a straight course. After 1 hour of making no turns and traveling at a steady rate, the boat was 6 miles east and 8 miles north of its point of departure. Here are the following questions you guys need to answer. What is Corey's position at 2 o'clock? How far has Corey traveled? What was Corey's speed? Then you need to assume that the fuel tank initially held 12 gallons and that the boat gets 4 miles to the gallon. How far will Corey get before running out of fuel? When does this happen? When radioing the Coast Guard for help, how should Corey describe the boat's position? Now, once you guys have answered all of those questions, your final product that you're going to turn into us will have the following. So here's what your final product will consist of. You guys are going to create a poster showing us one method of how you determine the location of the boat. Okay? You're going to have clear explanations, diagrams if you use them, and you're going to put all of this on your poster, and your work needs to be well organized so that we can follow each step. The first thing I would do, I'm giving you a hint, write down everything you know, and then write down everything you need to know, and then work from there. Any questions?
No.
No. All right, get started.
The first action we took was, as Miss Ashton advised, and to gather what we know. What we know is...
He left at noon.
He traveled at a steady rate and took no turns for 1 hour.
His position after that was 6 miles east and 8 miles north.
And from that, we can start to answer the rest of our questions.
To find out what Corey's position at 2 o'clock was, we used the Pythagorean theorem to figure out that he went 10 miles.
To find Corey's position after 2 hours, we used the Pythagorean theorem again, except we doubled everything to find out that Corey went 20 miles northeast.
I went around and you guys explained how you came up with your answers. All of you are on the right track. However, when it came to answering the question about how should Corey describe the boat's position, some of us got a little bit off there, or some of us did not answer that question. But when I looked at this group's, they actually went through and they got all the way through that part and were able to describe to me where Corey's boat was located. So what I would like for you guys to do here, you guys were all on the right track. All of this until you got down to the very last question. So what I want for you guys to do now is to take a look at how they got to their solution, and then take some notes to see what maybe you could have done differently, or where you might have should have been led to get to your final answer where Corey was located. Okay?
First, we started off by what we knew about this problem. What we knew was Corey took a ride at 12 o'clock noon, and after 1 hour of riding, the boat was 6 miles east and 8 miles north of where he started.
What we need to know is the position at 2 o'clock, how far Corey traveled, and his speed. We found Corey's position at 2 o'clock by doubling 6 miles east, and we got 12. And then we doubled 8 miles north and got 16. We found out his speed by multiplying 10 times 2, and we got 20 miles. And we found out how far Corey traveled by using Pythagorean theorem and got 13.4.
Okay, we went down and we found out how
how far Corey got, and we used Pythagorean theorem again, and we found out that he got 48 miles in the time of 4.8 hours. And we set up a chart and went all the way back up to the beginning, and we found out that in 6 miles east and 8 miles north, the distance was 10. Therefore, we started cutting the time in half each time until we came close to 48 miles. So that 48.75 miles, Corey is 29.25 miles east and 39 miles north. And that's how we got to 48 miles, 48.75, and that's almost to 48 miles. And 29.25 miles east and 39 miles north will be approximately where Corey is located.
Our problem was the viewing window of a certain calculator is in the shape of a rectangle. Let W represent the width of the viewing window in centimeters. If the window is 5 centimeters longer than it is wide, write an expression in terms of W for the length of the viewing window.
We started drawing a rectangle and put what we knew, which was W plus 5. And we had to find the width, and we put W on each side. And we wrote the symbolic rule that represents the perimeter, which is P, and we put that to W plus 5 parentheses plus 2W. We distributed, and we got 2W plus 10 plus 2W, and we put the like terms together, and we got 4W equals 10. And we dropped 4W equals 10 and equaled that to 26 centimeters, and we took 10 from each side, and it gave us 4W equals 16. We divided that by 4 from both sides and got the width, which was W equals 4.
You need to rent, so you can contact 2 local rental companies and acquire the following information for the one-day cost of renting a truck. Company 1 is $39.35 per day plus 19 cents mile. Company 2 is $19.95 per day plus 49 cents per mile. Let X represent the number of miles driven in one day and C represent that total driving rental cost.
Now write an equation that represents the total daily rental cost from Company 1 in the terms of the number of miles driven.
So we took 3935 per day and we put it into an equation. So C, which is the total rental cost, equals $39.95 plus the cost per mile.
E, for which mileage would Company 2 have the lower price when it's under 67 miles?
The question number 3 was, you get 3 summer jobs to help save for college. In your job as a cashier, you work 20 hours per week. Your second and third jobs are at the local hospital. You earn $8.50 as a payroll clerk and $6 as an aide. You always work 10 hours less per week as an aide than you do as a payroll clerk. Your total weekly salary depends on the number of hours that you work at each job.
We're not completely finished yet writing it down on our poster, but so far we've written down that the first question was that the independent variables for the situation, and those were, as the independent variable, the hours I work in payroll, and then the dependent variable is the total weekly salary. How we calculated the total amount earned was we multiplied the hours and how much we got and then added them all together. So we got 650 times 20 plus 850 times P plus 6 times A. P stood for the hours as a clerk, and then A stood for the hours as an E. If X represented the number of hours that you work as a payroll clerk, express the number of hours that you work as an aide in terms of X. And we got X minus 10 because it says that you work 10 hours less as an aide than you do as the payroll clerk.
You are considering installing a security system in your new house. You gather the following information about similar security systems from 2 local home security dealers.
Dealer 1's cost is $3,560 to install and $15 per month monitoring fee, and Dealer 2 is $2,850 to install and $28 per month monitoring fee.
You see that the initial cost of the security system for Dealer 1 is much higher than that of the system from Dealer 2, but that the monitoring fee is lower. You want to determine which is the better system for your needs.
Let X represent the number of months that you have the security system, and C represent the cumulative cost.
First, you have to write an equation that represents the total cost of the system from Dealer 1 in terms of the number of months you have in the system. So C equals 3,560 plus 15X.
And then you write an equation that represents the total cost of the system from Dealer 2 in terms of the number of months you have in the system. So that equation would be C equals 2,850 plus 28X.
Right, then you have to write an equation to determine the number of months for which the total cost of the system will be equal. So you take those 2 equations that you got and you set them equal to each other. And your answer is X equals 55 months.
If you plan to live in a house and use a system for 10 years, which system would be less expensive? And we came out with Dealer 1.